Well, May's come and gone, and it definitely delivered some awesome games, most of which I didn't get to play when they released, since I was in Japan enjoying a much needed holiday and doing a bit of retro game hunting while I was there. And let me tell you, the Land of the Rising Sun does not disappoint. But that also means my backlog just got even bigger, and by the looks of things, it's not getting smaller anytime soon, because June is shaping up to be an even bigger month for gaming. I might even need to do 2 or 3 videos just to cover everything I'm interested in that's coming out. But since I've only just gotten back, and I'm still settling into the rhythm of my real job and getting back into making videos, let's start things off with something nice and simple. So without further ado, I'm Jamison, welcome to the channel, and here are 7 interesting things dropping tomorrow or at the start of June 2025 if you're watching this a little later. Kicking off our list at number 1 is the only bit of hardware on this list, and that is the successor to Nintendo's ever popular Switch, the Nintendo Switch 2. And if you somehow missed the memo on this, I genuinely envy your ability to stay offline that hard. But for those of you hearing about this for the first time, here's a quick rundown. The Switch 2 features a more powerful custom Nvidia chip that brings faster load times and stronger performance across the board. It comes with a crisp OLED screen as standard, so no more choosing between models like we do with the current Switch. It also offers a serious boost in battery life, along with improvements to the Joy-Cons, improved ergonomics, have better magnetic attachments, and are designed to reduce drift and wear overall. Along with this, when it's docked, the console can now output in 4K, which is a huge step up if you like seeing every blade of grass in your RPGs. And yes, it's backwards compatible with most original Switch games, both physical and digital. However, it does say that there will be a few cases where support might be limited, but for the most part, your old library is safe. Now, whilst I won't be picking up a day one release here in Australia, mainly because launch stock is gonna be tight and the price is looking a bit steep, I'm still planning to grab one before the year's out. And not having one certainly won't stop me from buying the games as they come out, especially the JRPGs and a few other niche titles, as once again, Australia doesn't seem to stock too many of the niche titles before running out of them. So, if you are able to get a day one edition of the Switch, don't miss it when it releases on June the 5th. Moving on to the first game on our list, we've got the return of a duo so iconic they don't really need an introduction, and that's Sonic X Shadow Generations. In this title, we'll once again get to see classic Sonic and modern Sonic return, except this time they'll be joined by none other than Shadow the Hedgehog in a dual speed adventure blending old school platforming with sleek 3D action. Expect iconic zones, time-shifting twists, and the general Chaos Emerald-powered mayhem. Shadow will have his own playable sections too, adding a bit more variety to the formula we already know and love. One thing to note, whilst the game is getting a physical release, it comes in the form of a game key card, meaning that the cart won't contain the full game data, but will instead include a key to download the game via the internet. However, once it's downloaded though, you can play it offline as long as the game card is inserted. So, if this latest release in the Sonic series sounds like your kind of game, consider grabbing a copy when it drops on June 5th. Next up on the list is a title I'm super excited to see getting the remaster treatment finally, and that's Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster. This one's a classic from the legendary 3DS catalog, now upgraded and ported to the Switch 2, which is especially great for me since I only just started playing the sequel earlier this year. The story kicks off with a massive catastrophe and the world is on the brink of falling apart. In it, you'll follow Tiz as he joins up with a mysterious girl named Agnes, a crystal vestial with the power to restore balance. Together they must gather a party and embark on a globe-trotting journey, full of light, darkness, and just the right amount of classic JRPG melodrama. At its heart, Bravely Default is all about faith, duty, and rebellion, wrapped up in a world that feels like a love letter to the Final Fantasy games of old. One of the things that makes this game so special is its incredibly deep job system. You've got 20 different job classes, ranging from the usual suspects like White Mage, Black Mage, Knight, and Monk, to more unique ones like Time Mage and Vampire. And if this isn't good enough for you, you can freely switch jobs between battles, level them up independently, and even mix and match passive abilities. So yeah, you can make a ninja that casts white magic or a summoner that hits like a dragon. The freedom to experiment here is insane. Now, combat-wise, the game's most iconic feature, the Brave and Default mechanics are back in full force. And of course, this HD remaster wouldn't be complete without a bunch of enhancements. First off, the high-def graphics. You'll also be able to speed up encounters and battles, which will be a lifesaver for those who like to grind away at their levels. They're also going to give us an improved, more user-friendly UI that does look fantastic from the screenshots I've seen, so I'm already a fan of that. Along with this, the remaster also aims to introduce some new online features, including the ability to summon friends to aid you in battle, which is an awesome multiplayer twist. But if we're being honest, the coolest thing I find about this remake is because the Switch 2 has a mouse tracking functionality, we'll be able to play various mini-games from the original that relied on the 3DS's touchscreen, because instead of a stylus, we have the mouse cursor. So we're still going to get the core game and all those unique features from the 3DS in a much more clever way that allows us to modernize that mechanic. So if you've never played this game before, like me, or you just want to experience it all over again in modern graphical splendor, consider picking up a copy when it drops on June the 5th. Coming in at number 3 on the list, we've got the newest chapters in the epic parallel story to Undertale, and that's Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4, or Chapters 1 through 4 if this is your first time picking it up. And if that's the case, oh man, you're in for a weird, heartfelt ride. Deltarune throws you into a strange alternate world where familiar faces from Undertale return in brand new roles. It blends quirky humour, emotional storytelling, and turn-based combat with bullet hell dodging mechanics that's sure to keep you on your toes. The choices you make still matter, but not always in the way you'd expect, and between the intense story beats and boss fights, you'll find a variety of mini-games, from pixel-style rhythm games that play like a retro Guitar Hero, to arcade shooter segments and strange little puzzles that feel like Toby Fox just dumped his entire imagination into the mix. So, if this is a title you're eager to play from Chapter 1 to 4, or you're ready to continue where you left off, you'll be able to do so when it releases on, you guessed it, June 5th for Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo Switch 1, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, and of course, PC. Next up on the list is a visually stunning action JRPG with an atmospheric soundtrack to die for, and that is Kunitsu-Gami, Path of the Goddess. Set in a mythical version of Japan, the game follows Soe, a masked guardian, as he protects a sacred maiden named Yoshiro on her journey to purify the corrupted lands of Mount Kafuku. Once a place of natural beauty, the mountain is now overtaken by a dark force known as the Defilement, and it's your job to fight it back. But this isn't just a straight up action game, it blends elements of third person real time combat with strategy and tower defense mechanics. During the day, you'll explore, rescue villagers, and assign them jobs to help build up your defenses. Then at night, the Seethe attacks in waves, and you'll need to use everything from a sharp timing to smart positioning to keep the maiden safe and the corruption at bay. And here's where things get really interesting. Thanks to the Switch 2's new mouse tracking functionality, you'll be able to issue commands and place units far more precisely than you could with a traditional controller, making the game's strategic layer feel smoother and way more intuitive. Plus, this Switch 2 version also includes an exclusive new mode called Otherworldly Adventure, which adds roguelike mechanics into the mix. So if this sounds like your kind of game, consider grabbing a copy when it drops on June the 5th for Switch 2. Coming in at number 5, we've got a game from a franchise that really needs no introduction, and that's Yakuza 0 Director's Cut Edition. I will be picking up a copy the second it hits the shelves, because the original Yakuza 0 was the game that brought me into the series as a whole and completely rekindled my love for JRPGs. For anyone who doesn't know what to expect, Yakuza 0 features two parallel stories, one following the series' longtime protagonist, Kazuma Kiryu, and the other putting you in the snakeskin shoes of rival and fan favourite Goro Majima. You will be swapping between their perspectives as the game shows how both of these legends were shaped in their younger years. Yakuza 0 acts as a prequel to the main series, but the way the two storylines intertwine is genuinely brilliant. You've got to play both sides to fully grasp the bigger picture, and even though the game's main narrative is incredibly strong, it never pushes you to stick to a linear path. If you are someone who likes to wander off, this game gives you plenty of space to do just that. There's a ton of side content, and I mean a lot. I'm talking about doing anything from running a real estate empire, to playing darts, to learning mahjong, to building your ultimate pocket race car, or a Hot Wheels style track. There's even managing your own cabaret club, or you can just do something strange like collecting prepaid phone cards with photos of real life gorgeous women in alluring outfits on said cards. And the best part, all this chaos and hijinks is just part of the standard Yakuza charm. But because Yakuza 0 is set during Japan's wild 1980s bubble economy, everything is turned up to 11. Money is flying everywhere, and you'll be using it to buy property, level up your characters, and unlock absurd new abilities. If you don't grind XP in this game, you just throw cash at your problems until they go away. And if you're lucky, you might just bump into a very familiar version of Steven Spielberg or Michael Jackson, casually hanging out in the back alleys of Kamurocho. That said, I do recommend not straying too far from the main story, because it is genuinely one of the most beautifully written and emotionally charged narratives I've ever played through, and that's only going to hit harder this time round, because the director's cut is adding brand new cutscenes, and for the first time ever, a full English voice cast. And if none of this has at least gotten you curious about Yakuza 0 director's cut, then I honestly don't know what to tell you. But if you are even half as excited as I am, consider grabbing a copy when it releases on June the 5th. And finally, coming in last but certainly not least on this very short and hastily made video, is a game I've been waiting for since it was first announced, and that's Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma. Now, I'm not entirely sure how to best articulate how I feel about Rune Factory, or why I like it so much. It's everything, from the beautiful characters and gorgeous environments to the interesting stories that make it feel like so much more than just the sum of its parts. So I guess I'll settle for a quick rundown of what Rune Factory is all about instead. At its core, Rune Factory blends farming simulation with action RPG elements. You'll be growing crops, building relationships, taming monsters, and diving into dungeons for some light hack and slash fun. It's that perfect mix of a chill farm life and adventure-driven gameplay that scratches that specific itch if you have it. But Guardians of Azuma isn't just more of the same. This one takes place in a completely new region, the Eastern-inspired land of Azuma, and it puts you in the shoes of an earth dancer, someone who uses the power of sacred dances and divine relics to fight off spreading blight. You're not just saving the world, you're rebuilding it. You'll be restoring villages, assigning jobs to NPCs, and even reviving dormant gods as part of your mission. There's also new weapon types, like bows and talismans to shake up combat and give longtime fans something fresh. Of course, it wouldn't be Rune Factory without farming, however, so you'll still be planting, harvesting, crafting, and yes, romancing NPCs. So, whether you're after a charming mortal or one of the game's more celestial options, there's no shortages of candidates for love and marriage. It's a cozy, heartfelt world with a lot more going on under the surface than you'd expect. And that concludes this very short video covering 7 June 5 releases that I'm super excited for. I know the video was a bit shorter and more off the cuff than usual, but I was determined to get something out, even if it wasn't everything I wanted to cover. But hey, there's always time for a second or third video throughout the course of this month. After all, between coming back from my first proper holiday in forever and the ungodly long hours I spend at work, I just couldn't fit in every title I had planned. But hey, that's enough rambling from me. If you're still watching, thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to like and subscribe,